Hey, it's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon, and I'm here with the $10,000 boating adventure boat, and it is winterization time. The temperatures are going to get down into the low to mid 20s for several days in a row. That's when I start to get nervous. If we dip to 30 and your boat's covered, it's fiberglass, it's not just sitting out in the elements. Hey, it's unlikely to freeze. It could if it's just dipping down to 30 for the night, jumping back up into 50s during the day. But we've got several days of mid 20-degree weather. The highs are only getting to the 40s, which means that the boat's not going to warm up that much to keep that heat internal. We get down to 20 degrees, 22 degrees for 8-9 hours at night. Hey, now you've got the chance. So I can't stretch out any longer. I got to get it done. You can see I've got my manual. I bought this before I even took delivery of the boat, before I went to pick it up. So now I've got all the information I need. If I need to reference something, I've got it. I've got my pink stuff. It is, I think those were 10 bucks a jug. I'm at the negative 50 Fahrenheit because I'm in the Carolinas. Doesn't get really hard freezing here. If I was up north, I would probably go with the green stuff, which I think is like 110 or 115 negative. But it's also the engine storage, so it has the corrosion inhibitors. This is why I like to do it the way I'm showing you, is because we're actually going to run the boat, get it up to temperature on the ear muffs. You can see the water coming out. Make sure that your muffs are covering those intake grates. Make sure that you're paying attention to the temp gauge, that you're not overheating. So we're going to fire it up, let it run for 10-15 minutes, get warm enough that it opens up the thermostat. So we got water running through the whole system. Then we're going to go ahead and turn the valve on. That's going to go ahead and send the juice through and turn that water off. So what that's going to do is, instead of taking water in, it's going to take the pink stuff, it's going to flush it all the way through the system. And then once I see pink stuff coming out down below through the lower unit, well, now I know that we've got it all the way through the system and it's circulated everywhere. It's protected everything. Let it run a little bit longer till it's nice and dark pink. And we know that we got the whole pink mixture in there, and it's 99 to 100% the juice. Then we'll go ahead and shut it off. I'll splash some of the pink stuff in the engine compartment just in case some water gets in there. Anywhere that, hey, it may freeze, water that's just left in the boat may freeze, I may splash them in the ski locker. That'll get it through the piping so that we know water won't freeze, expand, and crack something in the gel coat or cause us issues with the structure of the boat down the line. So this is the winterization part to make sure, hey, freezing temperatures were covered. I've already treated the fuel. I'm going to pull the battery switch. The boat's already been cleaned. Doesn't look it. Needs a good buff and wax, which will happen this winter. Any food, anything that's going to attract rodents and critters is what I'm concerned about most. You can see where I'm at. I'm in just an outdoor lot, very inexpensive. I think I pay 125 bucks a month for this spot. I'm 10 minutes away from the boat ramp, so it's easy. But hey, there are some critters that are looking for somewhere warm to go. I want to make sure they have no reason to test my boat as a place to make a nest for the winter. So I'm going to get any food out. I've cleaned it up real well inside, get all that dirt and dust, get as much moisture out as I can. I've got some dry rid, which I'll show you, to keep the dampness down, to keep the mold and mildew from getting started on a warm day here. It could be 70 in January, but it could also be 20 in January, and that temperature is going to create condensation. So I've got the dry rid to protect against that, and then also I have the boat covered up. So let's walk through the process. And why do I like this better than disconnecting a hose and just pouring it in through the hose? Well, I like it better because it's getting through the whole system, and you're less likely to make a mistake. It's really super easy. It costs, I think I paid 50 bucks for the jug, which has everything I need, and then you buy the pink stuff. That jug's gonna last me forever. There's no reason to need to replace it if you keep track of it. That's the big one. So let's go ahead and jump in. So while the boat's running, getting up to temperature, you've already treated the fuel. It's a great time to get your grease gun out and go ahead and grease all the Zerk fittings. That includes, if you're on a trailer, the bearing buddies, making sure that those are greased up good. You should do that probably a couple times throughout the season. But there's also a bunch of grease fittings on your steering, on your lower unit. There's several throughout the boat. So look for a Zerk fitting. They look like this, a little nipple. You put this end on. You can open that up a little bit, put the end on, give it a couple squirts of grease. It's a messy job. I like to wear, well, I think I like to wear these. Hopefully I brought it. Yeah, there we go. I like to wear these rubber gloves so that way when I'm done, I can take these off, and now I don't have grease on my hands as I'm finishing up the rest of the winterization. So that Zerk fitting, that greasing of your Zerks, that's not winterization specifically. Winterization is all about making sure that nothing freezes in the boat that's going to cause damage. But you're putting the boat away for a long period of time. You might as well do these other things so that way, if there's any water in those bearings, there's any water in some of the systems, you're getting that out and getting grease in, good fresh grease, and you're good. So on the inside of the boat, what do you need to do? Well, the first thing you want to do is get all your gear off it. The gear holds moisture, and as the weather goes from warm to cool, well, that can cause condensation. And if there's anything in the boat that can attract moisture, like your life jackets, towels, paper towels, anything that's absorbent, it's gonna go ahead and suck that moisture in, hold it, and you're more likely to get that mold and mildew started, because there is gonna be a warmer day, and that's when it starts, and that's when you can open up your boat to a disaster, especially in my area where it can get up to 70 degrees in January. So then once you get everything out, have a place to store it at the house, then you want to go ahead and clean. You want to get all that dirt and any mold or mildew that may already be there just a little bit, get it cleaned as good as you can, and also get any food off the boat. Anything that a little rodent or a critter is going to say, hey, this is going to make a nice winter home for me. I can have a little snack. I can maybe eat some of the cushions and make a little nest. This is going to be awesome. So I get everything out of the boat that I can, and I clean it as good as I can so that I'm putting a nice clean boat away. I'm gonna have to clean it in the spring, but I'm less likely to open the boat up to an issue. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get some dry rid, something like this. You got hanging bags, you can use kitty litter, anything that's gonna absorb that moisture and pull it in and protect it so it's not in the air and getting it under your upholstery and start that mold and mildew process going, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is get everything put away. You can see I've got these towels as well. What I like to do with the towels is my cover kind of rests on some of the upholstery right at the edge right there, does it up in the bow. So I take those towels and I'll lay it down on anywhere where my canvas cover is gonna touch on the upholstery, and I'm gonna lay it over the upholstery so it's not outside getting any rain or moisture on it, but it's covered, but it's also gonna keep that canvas cover from transferring any coloration, mold and mildew getting in there with water getting in. It's just gonna protect my upholstery a little bit better. The other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna prop open my storage compartment, so that way there's more airflow getting around. I'll open up the ski locker, I'll leave a little bit of a crack. I'll be putting this fender that's a rubber, it's not gonna attract moisture. I'm gonna prop that up, I'm gonna prop up this compartment so that there's less likely to get an area where that mold and mildew starts. One last thing I'm gonna do inside the boat is do something besides just taking care of any of the food or things that are gonna attract the mice in. We know they're looking for a warm spot, so we're gonna try to repel it. I'm gonna try this Grandpa Gus's. I've seen it all over the internet. We're gonna give it a try. Be on the lookout for a video where I get some mice and I try some different repellents to see what works and what doesn't. We're gonna go with this. I don't remember what I spent on it, but got it online. And we've got 10 pouches, so we'll just throw those throughout the boat. All right, so we're looking good. The temperatures come up on the gauge. As I'm feeling it, this is the water right here coming right off the hose. This is the exhaust water. That's much warmer. It's cold out here, so it took quite a while to get it come up to temp. Don't rush it. Make sure you get it all the way up. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the valve on this, and we're gonna switch from water to pink stuff. And that's gonna go ahead and let that pink juice come through. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. All right, so now you can see it's running down the tube here, and you can see it coming out. That means we've got it running through the system, and we're getting all of that through the whole in. All right, I know we're getting a little dark, but we're gonna check the gear lube. There's a little screw down here on the bullet, and this one's about right there, that you can just crack, and as long as the vent's not up top, if you got a Mercruiser, the vent will be a little bit on the top part of the lower unit, but just crack that. Make sure you don't have any milkshake in there, any water dripping out. And if you do, hey, let's go ahead and get some gear lube and change it. See, it's getting dark here, so I'm just gonna crack it to make sure there's no water in. I'm pretty good. I think I'm probably good because the last time I checked it, it was okay. We've only run it a few times since, but don't take chances. In the wintertime, water can cause inexpensive fix. Hey, just a regular gear lube will take care of it, to, oh my God, now I've ruined the gears. Had some damage in my lower unit, and now I've got a $5,000 repair. So do the little things so you can avoid those big expenses. All right, so one of the last things I do when I'm putting the boat up is, you can see I've taped up the prop. Now you can put a plastic bag around it. That's probably a better option. That way you keep the water out. Water can get in that prop hub and collect, especially if you leave your motor up. I encourage you, especially if you're in a lot like mine, put that lower unit down so that those bellows aren't accessible for somebody to start gnawing on them when they get real hungry, to see if that might be some food. So I put my drive down. Now, don't forget to put it back up before you tow it away the first time for the season, but put it down, put some covering around it. Also reminds you that the boat's winterized if you got multiple vessels. Pull the battery, put that on a trickle charger, keep it inside, at least up, if you have it in your garage, up on some wood. Don't just set it on the cement floor. That'll sap the juice right out of it, make your battery last longer. Keep it on a trickle charger and keep it good and charged for the rest of the season. Make sure, you can see I've taped up some spots on my cover where I thought, maybe some water could blow in there. So I got some white tape that doesn't leave residue. It's fairly expensive. This is Nashaw, but it's just white tape and it doesn't leave a residue like duct tape would, but it's waterproof. So tape up any areas that you think might be a concern. I'm probably going to get a secondary cover to put on it for the winter. But again, for right now, the boat's ready for the cold. Fuel's treated, battery's gone, lower unit's down, clean. Got the dry rid, got the rodent repellent, for what it's worth, is in there. And hopefully we'll see her soon. Leave a comment, leave your tips for winterization, leave your questions, and we'll answer those for you as well. Take care, everybody.